Hello there, folks. I'm Johnny Macabre, the creep of the class, and this is Horror News Net TV. This morning, I thought we'd go on a little road trip, go around Instant Street View, take a look at some locations, real life locations, mind you, behind some of our favorite horror movies. Places that either were the sets, the actual real life filmed locations in the horror movies, or locations that even inspired horror movies. Let's get started, shall we? Now, everyone knows Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everyone remembers the gas station that featured very prominently in it. Not a lot of people know that the gas station in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it was actually filmed, has since been turned into a Texas Chainsaw Massacre themed barbecue joint called the We Slaughter Barbecue. Now, this picture here is actually dated. As you can see here, it's actually from 2015. It only became the barbecue joint last year, 2016. So you can see here what it used to look like. It was just an abandoned shack, basically. No trespassing signs, windows boarded up. This is what it looks like now. And part of my voice, it's still a little bit shot. I started working at a haunted house as one of the scare actors this past weekend, and my voice is still suffering from the yelling and screaming at people. For a while there, I sounded like William Dafoe's Green Goblin. Um, so yeah, you see here the We Slaughter Barbecue. A little close up of the sign there. And yes, that's been going for about a year now. Actually, it opened up last October, October 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So almost a year it's been going. Definitely a hot spot. Might want to check out if you are a fan of the franchise. Now, we also all know the Amityville house. What I'm delighted by is just how much the real house looks like the house from the movie. Has that same roof there. One thing that's obviously different from the movie. In the movie, they make it look a lot more isolated. But here, um, I mean, they got neighbors aplenty. But it's actually a really nice house here. You can zoom in on the satellite view, and you can see this is the boathouse that you see in some of the movies. Now, this is the updated look of it. It was for sale and just a couple years back, and it finally sold. Now, I'm not sure if they redid the outside to help sell it, or if the new owners redid the outside. But here's what it used to look like here. You can see the iconic windows that we see in the movie a lot, the ones that kind of look like eyes, plus the darker exterior. Now they have more traditional windows and the updated veneer. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. This is the infamous Lizzie Borden house, now a bed and breakfast, supposedly haunted. Let's see if I can go down the street a little bit here. Yeah, scene of one of the America's most famous murders. Lizzie Borden was, of course, exonerated, found not guilty. And they do tours at the Lizzie Borden house now. Stephen King's house up in Bangor, Maine. Yes, a lot of Stephen King's stories are set in Maine because he himself lives in Maine. He lives up in Bangor, which is a probably, I'm going to say it's probably either the second or third largest city in Maine. It's up towards the northern border, up towards Canada. Now, the house is deceptively large because what you're seeing here is just the front. But if you look at the satellite view, you can see it goes all the way back here. So what we're looking at is just this area here, but it goes all the way back. Now supposedly, and I have not been able to verify this myself, supposedly every Halloween he actually does a haunted house on his property, and it's supposed to be really scary. And apparently he'll give anyone who can make it through $100. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or if it's, I used to live in Maine, so it might just be something that, just a local myth. But it's what I heard when I was in high school. The Exorcist house. What a beautiful day for an exorcism. Yes, the events that inspired the movie The Exorcist took place right at this street here, 8435 Roanoke Drive. Again, not exactly a isolated house. Definitely an older home. You can tell from the brick, the old brick construction. What was 1428 Elm Street in Nightmare on Elm Street is actually 1438 North Genesee Avenue in West Hollywood, California. Yes, this is the Kruger House. Now, the inside is actually quite something to see. They've definitely renovated the inside since the 80s. It looks much more modern now. Really nice interior. You can check it out on Zillow with that address if you want to. I even have the traditional red door still. Now, the Myers house is a little bit different. Everyone knows the Myers house from the Halloween films. The Myers house used to be here, or somewhere on the street. This is what I pulled up when the address no longer exists. It was 707 Mission Street in Pasadena. Let me see if I can find it. 707 Mission Street. Pasadena. Okay. That's not any more helpful either. It used to be on a Mission Street in Pasadena, California, but they literally moved the entire house. And it is now located here at 807 Meridian Avenue, South Pasadena, California. They've changed the orientation of it, where they now have the side of it facing the street. Ironically, there is a police car right out front, perhaps appropriately. If you want to get a look at the front of it, you have to go all the way down here. If Google will cooperate. Okay, here we go. And that's the best glimpse you can get of the front of it from Street View. Now, another location, one that I'm sure you probably have not heard of, but is a very real messed up place for those that believe in the paranormal, like myself. One of the many hats I wear is a paranormal investigator. $38.74. It's 3830 McMahon Drive, McMahon Road, I believe, in Hinsdale, New York. Now, see, the Google camera cars don't come down this road because it's literally in the middle of nowhere. So I can get a satellite view of it. But the closest I have for Street View is this. But this is the satellite view of the Hinsdale house. It's a small little shack up on a hill in a small town called Hinsdale, New York, towards the Pennsylvania border. And if someone put a gun to my head and said, would I choose to stay by myself overnight in the Hinsdale house or the Amityville house, I would choose the Amityville house, because I would not want to stay in this place by myself overnight. The Hinsdale house, also known as the Dandy house, as that was the last family to live in it back in the 80s, were the Dandies, was the scene of a Native American massacre, several murders, and a failed exorcism. The Dandies, as I said, the last people to live in the house, they moved all the way out to the coast of Washington State because they wanted to be as far away from this house as possible without leaving the continental United States. I've been to this house a couple times. Whatever's there is not friendly. You'll probably see more on this location later. One of my friends, Daniel Clace from the local Buffalo Paranormal Investigation Team, Greater Western New York Paranormal Society, best team in the city at the moment. He actually owns the place now and has actually redone the exterior. It's actually looks pretty nice now, and he lets teams go in and investigate it. And I'll be going in there probably in the next few months, and I'll probably have some footage of that for you guys to take a look at. But yeah, so these are some great locations, a little bit of sightseeing. If you know any other places you might want me to try to take a look at for you, try to dig up an address for. Some of them can be kind of tricky to find the exact address. You know, put it in the comments. I'll see what I can find. And that's it for today, folks. Once again, I'm Johnny Macabre, the creep of the class. This is Horror News Net TV. I'll see you all next time.